ultimate defensive force, great strength and even greater courage, serious, even grim at times. Omega Supreme is the Autobot's last line of defense and protects the Ark and all else vital to his cause. As a robot, he can shatter a mountainside, lift 300,000 tons with a clawed arm, destroy 12-inch steel cubes with plasma-blasted arms. He has a head-mounted laser cannon and can cover an entire mountainside. Omega Supreme transforms into a rocket base that includes a tank, the tracks, the entire base of operations, and of course the rocket. The tracks on Omega Supreme are way too short for the tank and way too narrow for the tank. But on the bright side, you can take in a whole bunch of Autobots and park them under and around the entire base mode. The base mode is a little bit claustrophobic for deluxe size figures, but for Micromasters, I feel like this would work really well. Even though the rocket does not have enough space to launch, the Micromasters definitely have enough space to at least hang out in there. The base mode should be compatible with other base modes, but thanks to an aggressively stupid decision on Hasbro's part, the ramps that are included on Omega Supreme have different connection ports, and as a result, they are unable to directly connect to any other base modes. What I should say is that you can't connect the wings to other base modes, which would ultimately make the thing a lot more interactive. You can connect other base modes to the figure, but it's on the outsides of the track for some reason, and as a result, if you put Fortress Maximus connected to it, it doesn't have enough clearance to adequately connect to the base mode, which kills a lot of the playability. On Blaster, it works pretty well, but not as well as you think because the ramps don't allow the figure to stay on the ground if you connect them. On the other hand, I think that the connection ports that are on Omega Supreme being different is a sign that we're probably going to wind up getting more Titan class figures in the future, or more figures that have a base mode compatible with Omega Supreme, so that's something to look out for in the future, definitely. I should mention that Omega Supreme also comes with Micromaster Countdown like the original one did, but ultimately speaking, the transformation is so simple that I'm not going to bother showing it on camera. Although I should point out that Micromasters, including Countdown, can fit inside of the rocket, which is a pretty cool feature. At least that brought back some of the playability they lost from not having a base mode compatible with other base modes. Let's move on to transformation and see how awesome Omega Supreme looks in his robot mode. Christ almighty, this is a fantastic robot mode. Every single time you think the siege line has just outdone themselves to the top possible point that they can, it just gets that much better. I absolutely love this figure. This thing is a big bastard. Now, I don't typically break stop motion format because it's kind of kills the point of my channel, but I had to make a point here. This is what Fortress Maximus's joints sound like. As you can hear, there are only 3 clicks of articulation on this thing. This is what Omega Supreme's joints sound like. Hear the difference? There is 9 clicks of articulation on Omega Supreme. There's only 4 on Fortress Maximus. That makes such a huge difference when it comes to the quality of animation, it isn't even funny. Now, I also wanted to show something else. This is what happens when I so much as poke Fort Max the wrong way. This is what happens when I poke Omega Supreme. As you can see, you have to force it in order to get to fall over. The joints quality on these 2 figures makes a world of difference. Anyways, let's move on to articulation. Something that people miss a lot on Omega Supreme is that he does actually have a neck joint. You have to pull the head up and forward slightly in order for you to see it, but he does have a neck joint, which includes up, down, left, and right movement. He also includes shoulders that can rotate not quite 360 degrees because, again, the wings are in the way. Outward shoulder movement, bicep bend, bicep rotation, 360 degrees of rotation at the claw. The rocket thing, missile blast thing can also retract and come back out. The waist rotates. The hips go forward, outwards, and backwards for universal hip joints. The knees bend 90 degrees. There's thigh swivel, and there are also ankle rockers on the figure. Look at the posability I can get out of Omega Supreme. You can do an Ironman with this guy like it's nothing while he's gripping a Decepticon. On Fort Max, it took me, I kid you not, 15 tries and a half an hour to figure out how the joints were going to work to pull out that Ironman pose. While I still commend the fact he can even do it, I hate the fact that it took so many tries on Fort Max compared to Omega Supreme. Omega Supreme also does have blast effect pieces if you want to use them. You know, I have kind of mixed feelings on them. In stop motions, I feel like using them is cool because you have something physically tangible that will make it so if a figure gets hit with it, it looks like it has actual weight. And that does make a difference in the quality of animation because I'll give you an example. The reason why Tom and Jerry and other likewise cartoons had slapstick comedy that was so much better was because everything that happened in the animation had an impact. Modern day CGI in movies has become a really big problem with quality because it looks like everything is just so weightless and fake. Your eyes can detect really small, discrete details that are very difficult to detect. And I find that using the blast effect pieces helps, but also hurts because in Omega Supreme's case, they kind of look like, well, fake. Let's take a look at the pros and cons of owning Titans class Omega Supreme. The pros of owning Omega Supreme are that he's highly posable. He's also a lot more stable than Fortress Maximus with highly durable ratchet joints. He is a very large figure altogether. He does have some playability in his base mode, but it was slightly compromised by the change in the ports that connect other base modes to it. The rocket mode is stupidly huge to a ridiculous extent, and the figure is just a lot of fun altogether. The cons of owning Omega Supreme include the odd proportions in the hips. The tracks are also way too short, and I think the tape mode is really too wide for the tracks for it to fully fit on the figure. I also don't like the fact that Hasbro took away some of the compatibility that it had with other base modes. I wish there were more connection points where the base modes from other lines could connect, but I can't complain because it's at least a feature that's there. That is my review on Titans class Omega Supreme from the Siege line. An absolutely fantastic figure that I'm really growing to love. Like, comment, and subscribe to my channel, and thank you for watching.